Good evening everyone. We are all set to preview the game between the Chennai Super Kings and the Rajasthan Royals. It's game 12. It's going to be played at the Wankhede Stadium. Are we looking at a high scoring game, or will it be a game where a 150 or a 160 kind of a target being chased down in the last over or so? We'll have to wait and watch, because like every other game, we are seeing that every game throws up a different pitch. You had a game where a 200 was scored and was almost chased. You had a game where 100 was also scored and it was chased in about 16 overs. So the Wankhede pitch, just like how the Chepauk pitch is showing its own magic and tricks, the Wankhede pitch too is showing it in a different way. Both these teams are coming off good victories, so they have a settled combination at least now, so they might want to continue that. It's about who builds their momentum further. Early days, but again, victory margins will help them get the necessary net run rate as well. First, let's look at the home team for today. It's the Chennai Super Kings. The Chennai Super Kings, not much to say in terms of who will come back or who will get into the squad. Wankhede is now come back out of quarantine, so that's a good sign. But whom does he replace? And especially at Wankhede, they might have a look at, maybe say, do they drop Bravo and get in Wankhede? But having said that, looking at how the CSK overall manage their team, they rarely make changes, and especially if they're coming out of a win, they will never make a change. Even if Ruturaj Gaikwad hasn't had much of a good outing there, 2 games, he's not been able to score freely, they might still want to persist with him. He's a youngster, he played well in the last season, has had a fair amount of success in the domestic formats in the last 2-3 months time. So Faf and Ruturaj would have to continue there. Good thing that they've done is to move Moeen Ali up the order. He's a power pack performer, especially the top of the order. He coming in at number 3 would provide them that impetus that will make them get that 50s and 60s in the power play. And then with Suresh Raina coming in the middle overs, Suresh Raina, Dhoni and Jadeja, it will depend on how and when these players will get introduced into the batting lineup. One thing that I like to change here is, given that the CSK have around all the 11 players can bat, I think they need to have an extra bowler, because understand something, at the Wankhede, even if you have an extra spinner, it will help, because it will get you that 1 or 2 overs which you could solve or fall short in case 2 or 3 of your bowlers go for runs. So that's where, do they really need a Raidu? I've always been talking about that. You can't have Raina, Raidu, Dhoni all in one team and then look at scoring big, because these players take some time. Raina is still better off, but Raidu and Dhoni, they have a similar strike rate. So I would want to look at, it will be a slightly radical approach. Instead of Raidu, they can get in someone like a Ravi Srinivasan Sai Kishore. He's a domestic player, he's an uncapped player, he's done very well in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. He's a lanky left arm spinner. The good thing is he'll extract bounce, and in these kind of tracks, bounce against a Joss Butler, against a Sanju Samson, you never know, it might work. They might still not want to use Tahir right now. Tahir could be used in the Delhi leg of the tournament, because in Delhi the pitches are slightly slower. Wankhede, again, I'm not sure they'll play him this game, purely because he's just come out of quarantine, so might just need some time there. So all in all, I foresee one change. I feel this change is needed for the team, not just to add variety, but also to give them the extra cushion in the bowling. Because in Mumbai, it's a high scoring venue, you need more bowlers. Batsmen, if 7 batsmen can't do your job, the 8th batsman isn't going to do that. So this is going to be my team for the Chennai Super Kings. And now we're going to look at the Rajasthan Royals. The men in pink, they had a huge blow when Ben Stokes was ruled out, but the way David Miller came in and played an innings of his lifetime, the best part of it was they never sort of said no to the game. 42 for 4, not many would have given them a chance to go and win that game. But the way David Miller played, he was at his attacking best. And then came Morris. I think Morris, the huge price tag on his head and shoulders, and you would always say that a player might sort of get crumbled under that pressure of the price tag. But he really played well. Yes, he was aided by some poor bowling by Delhi Capitals, but all in all, a game that Rajasthan would be very proud of. That from a situation of no return, they sort of got into that game and won that game with a good amount of positiveness. So what does this game have in street for them? Remember, they've had a good record against the CSK in the last year. They won both their games. In fact, one game they literally thrashed CSK. The good thing is they've got their leg spinner Rahul Tewatia, who's pretty effective against CSK last time around. And Butler again being there, it'll sort of give them that fulcrum there. Bowling, yes, they'll miss out Jofra Archer, no doubt about it. But they'll be happy to know that Unadkat is back. I think Unadkat is someone who's not been consistent in the last 2-3 years. But his domestic Ranji season has given him that world of confidence to go and do well. And he's done well, he's mixed up his pace well. In fact, it was very interesting when he said that he didn't bowl those many slower balls. He hardly bowled 2 or 3. While it looked like he had bowled so many slower balls, the lengths and the line were pretty much spot on. And that was the result why he was able to get those number of wickets that he got in the last game. Same with Chetan Sakaria has been a revelation. He's fielding well. He's bowling extremely well. You see some kind of joy in that player for all the tragedy that he's gone through in the past 6.5 months or so. So that gives them, it's an all left armer attack. Would they want to sort of say keep Mustafizur at bay and get in an Andrew Ty or someone? I don't think so, because they have somewhere got the 3 left armers doing their job for them. In addition to Morris, who's a designated death bowler. Morris versus Raina will be an interesting thing to watch, because Morris can bounce Raina out and Raina will again want to come all guns blazing against a Morris. So this is their overall team. I don't foresee any changes unless it's going to be a forced change. It will be interesting to see how they play out, because Manan Vora needs to start aggressive while Butler will want to again go all guns blazing. It's important that Manan Vora scores runs so that the pressure on a Sanju Samson or on a David Miller is slightly lessened there. Two teams wanting to have a win. Both teams look well rounded. I'm going with CSK to win this. It will be a close game. It will be won somewhere, I feel, in the 18th or the 19th over, with CSK coming through. So all the best to both teams.